I'm working at the University of Helsinki at the Department of World Cultures, study of religions, and actually my specialty is the cultures and traditional religious traditions of Native Americans, and I have done research on their traditional cultures, especially so-called Plains Indians and their traditional cultures and religions, and this is quite a new topic on my research, this sweatloth and sauna, and for example, my PhD was doing nothing dealing with sauna and sweatloths and so on, and actually I became interested in Native American sweat lodge because of Finnish sauna. So sauna has been part of my life, the whole of my life, since 6 months or so, yeah. And and I became interested in Native American sweat lodge that, wow, there is similar tradition among them than as we have in Finland. And I started to make research on that, and because I'm coming from study of religion, so I focused on the religious point of sweat lodge, and everywhere, of course, the main information comes from Lakota or Sioux people from North and South Dakota, because we have most information about them, and one of the most important sources from Lakota sweat lodge has been Black Elk, the medicine man who lived from 1863 till 1950, as far as I remember. But anyway, and most of you perhaps have heard about the book Black Elk Speaks. It's a very famous book. He told about his life. And later that scholar Joseph Epes Brown interviewed Black Elk, and he wrote a book and published a book, 7 Rights of the Lakota or Sioux Indians, and one section is about the Lakota sweat lodge and the meaning, how to do it, the meaning of the sweat lodge, and so on and so on. And this is one of the major sources on Lakota, traditional Lakota sweat lodge. Okay. Native American sweat lodge is actually a ritual, religious ceremony, and it's a rite of purification. In sweat lodge, Indians can purify themselves for various reasons, and one is, especially nowadays, just to purify themselves, to have some kind of connection to spiritual world, to pray there, and to share this event with other members of the community. They go there to the sweat lodge, pray there, and share ideas and think what my life is after this, and so on and so on. And there they can discuss about if they have troubles or problems or something like that. So it's like some kind of ritual as itself. But sweat lodge has been used also as a ritual purification for some other rituals or ceremonies, like Sundance, one of the most important religious rites among the Plains Indians, especially Northern Plains, or formerly times in traditional cultures for vision guests, to get visions from the spiritual world. So they went to sweat lodge and purified themselves, and then they had some other rituals, and then usually they had sweat lodge, sweat bath again before the other ritual. And I became interested in this, that what is the ritual purification, and what it makes the people to purify, to do something or connect to the spiritual world or whatever. And I found very interesting theory as a scholar. As all scholars, we use theories to either explain something or try to understand something. And 1909, Arnold van Gennep published his theory of transitional rights, or rights of passage, and it was translated into English 1960. And his idea of this theory is that human individual people in certain societies, they have different positions during their lifetime, and it changed the position in their own community. It changed, and there might be different positions during the life. For example, many native communities, especially, for example, in indigenous people in Africa, they have such rights, initiation rights, that, for example, young men, they are boys. They are not adults, but they are boys. And then there is an initiation right. So they will have a new position in their own community, on their own society. They will be as adult men then. And there are different kind of initiation rights. For example, this is just for example. And Van Gennep's idea is that this transition rights, they have three different parts, as he called them, as a preliminal, liminal, and post-liminal parts. And the term liminal comes from, I think it's come from a Latin word, limes or something, meaning threshold. And his idea is that when somebody's position is changed, there is first the preliminal period. So he is, for example, in this, let's say, some African society, the individual is first as a young boy, not adult. And then when it's time for initiation to be as an adult man, his formally position is some way taken out. So he's taken. Usually it was so formally times that these young boys were taken from the village somewhere else, and they were taught myths and rituals and everything. What is what is to be as a man and these kind of things. And when they were taken from the village to some place to teach, so that was the end of the preliminal period. And they were then in liminal period. They were not anymore young boys, but they were not yet as adult men. They were just somewhere in liminal period. And they were taught all kind of things and myths and whatever, and it lasted maybe several days or several weeks or whatever. And they were taken back to the village, to the society, and now they were as adult men. So they got a new position as an adult man. So this was the post-liminal period then in their life, so in this transition right. So this is the basic idea. I'm not going to talk so long, but this is the main idea. And Victor Turner, an anthropologist, focused on this liminal period of this transition rights. What is the liminal period? Being not in or out, being nothing, because it's you have already lost your formally position and you are not in your forthcoming position. You are in liminal time. Okay, and here I found an idea that what about the sweat lodge and sauna? Many native people say that being sweat lodge is like being Mother Earth's womb. It's like dying. it's completely dark place. It's darkness, and this is kind of some kind of liminal period. You are somewhere out of this world, and I thought that maybe we can make use of this classic theory of rite of transitions. That okay, sweat lodge is as a sweat lodge ceremony itself. You are naked when you go into the sweat lodge, and the door is closed. You are inside. You are in Mother Earth or Mother's womb, and you are somewhere there in darkness. And there you can share your ideas, problems, whatever, with the other people there. You can talk about them with them. And Native Americans say that there it's easier to communicate with the spiritual world. Like Cree Indians in Canada, they usually used to heal sick people in sweat lodge because for the medicine men it was easier to communicate with the spirits in the sweat lodge. And after the ceremony, you come out, and you are not naked anymore, and so on. So you are back to this world and this everyday life. So as Phil said, that every sauna is like a journey. I would say that every sauna is like a transition. And part of a wider or bigger religious drama, ritual drama, like let's say like Sundance for the Lakota people. The dancers first went to to sweat lodge to clean themselves, to be ritually purified, and then after that they can take part of this big, most important religious ritual they have, Sundance, and after that they go to sweat lodge again, and after that, it's not this ritual period anymore. So when they have first the the sweat lodge ritual, sweat bath, they purify themselves. And when they come out the sweat lodge to have this bigger ritual drama, they are in this liminal period after the first sweat lodge. And then not until after the second sweat lodge, after the ritual drama, they are back to this everyday life. So first sweat bath takes them from this everyday life to the liminal period to communicate with the spiritual world, and the second sweat lodge is coming back to the everyday life. So this is what I have done, and I have written a few articles about this. I have a few copies with me. If somebody is interested in, I can share them you. And focusing on Finnish sauna, actually when I had made research on Native American sweat lodge, I actually became interested in Finnish sauna. I had sauna every week and so on, but now I became interested in that. So
that's fun how that
so
happens.
because there are some similarities, and very quickly I just say that I gathered some material about Finnish sauna, and there are a lot of research made on what is sauna for health and this kind of things, but not so much what is the religious meaning or what has been the sauna in Finnish folk belief or folk religion. And actually there's not so much research done in that. And I noticed that, okay, formerly times sauna has been as a holy place, as it has been said that sauna is like church, you have to behave in sauna as in church and so on and so on. And traditionally Finnish sauna has also used very similar transition positions or transition like a boarding crossing events. Formerly times, the most important, the most important sauna day was Saturday, and actually it was because formerly times work week was 6 days, and only Sunday was the only holiday. So after work days in Saturday evening, Finnish people went to have sauna, and then they were ready for weekend and holy day Sunday, and some of them to church.
It's preparation, just like
Yeah, preparation for them.
about,
Yeah, exactly. Preparation. Yeah, and in Christmas, even nowadays, many Finnish families they have a sauna in Christmas Eve. There's all kind of things to do in Christmas Eve. There is some shopping still and so on, and making food and so on, and then many of them have sauna, and not until after Christmas Eve sauna, many Finnish families they are ready for Christmas. So they are ready for Christmas dinner and so on and so on. So there I'm not going to tell more because we don't have time, but this is just my basic idea. So yeah, thank you.
This is good. Yeah, thank you, Rico. Thank you. We have a question, but well, I just wanted to jump in really quickly. I missed one person who flew all the way here from Moscow. So before lunch, we're gonna have a really brief introduction, but let's have a couple questions first, and then we'll go to our gentleman from Moscow, and then have lunch. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Steve Kiesling, and we live at what was a Takelma Indian village in southern Oregon, and have sweat lodges there. But what's interesting is that the sweat lodges that are built now for the ceremonies are Lakota Sioux, and it's a very different tradition than the Takelma who live there. And what happened was in 1850, when gold was discovered, there was basic ethnic cleansing. Everybody was sent up to reservations, and the traditions were lost. But coming back to the villages of southern Oregon, and I think maybe California as well, the sweat lodge was not an above ground, Lakota thing. It was basically the house where the men lived. And I think actually for the Takelma, which means people of the river, the sweat lodge tradition was just more like the Finnish tradition of you have a sweat lodge in your house. You live in the sweat lodge because it's healthy. And I think the purification rituals probably, they happened as well, but it was, I think it was a lifestyle choice as well as a ritual choice.
I just want to jump in and say that you can't just group Native American sweat lodges all together. There was the Northwest tribes that used what was called the direct fire heat method. Yeah. They didn't even transfer heat to the fire to the rocks. They went straight into the room. It was a different...
Yeah, that's right.
And there are different sweat lodges and ceremonies all over North America. It wasn't just one way.
Yeah, that's right, yes. And my point was just to open the eyes to see from different viewpoint this tradition, and I have done just mainly on research on the Lakota sweat lodge and Finnish sauna, and I'm going to do more on other tribes and other traditions and so on, and if there are some similarities and so on.
Yeah, quickly. Go ahead.
Thanks. I think what's interesting is kind of looking at social and cultural norms for healing that basically are communal. I think one of the things that I came across, and thank you, Mikhail, I think for sort of programming so interestingly here. But I think in the West we often think that healing is something that is both specific and solo, and it's interesting to kind of see cultural paradigms where actually healing is communal, and there is a context for where you do something actually in a group and not just simply an intervention to the person himself. And I think it's also another opposite is where you actually have a top-down intervention, which is basically how, for example, how a drug would work, versus actually creating a general climate for healing, which is where it's not specific, but you bring what you need from the environment to yourself. So I think we can get sort of wrapped up or bound up with the technicalities of what a perfect sauna looks like. But I think it's really important to actually look at the general systems of health and actually how we approach it.
Right. Oh, that's fascinating. I totally. We want to explore more of that. So we're going to have to cut.